That's a tough act to follow, Simon. I really, I've also done a lot of speaking with classes and about careers. So and I'll tell you a little bit about my story of how I got to where I am. But I will tell you that I will echo one of the things that Simon said, primary thing that he said. And that is when Kristen asked me initially to come and it was about career, I didn't realize the topic was how I made it. So I got a laugh out of that because I, like you, am a work in progress. I don't know that I've made it, but I do know that if you define making it by doing something that you're really passionate about, then I've made it. I will tell you that I've been in this business a little over 20 years, and I still wake up every morning excited to go to work. I drive into the radio station. I can't wait to get there. I love it when it's dark in the radio station. I'm the first person there. I love that every day it's something new. And I love that I'm a part of this community and I've been able to reach people, help people, touch people. And so in that way, I guess I've made it. But I still have lots of things that I'd like to do still. So I'll tell you a little bit about the job I do and sort of how the roundabout way, again, I don't have the colorful way that you made it into your business. But I do have an interesting way that I sort of fell into things. So at this point right now, I do the morning show for K-Lite. I've been there for 18 years. We have the longest running partnership in Santa Barbara. We've lived through 5 different owners, which is quite a thing in the radio business. But I also, my background is in news, so I do news for KTMS. And then as of yesterday, actually, I'm starting on KDB. I'm going to be doing the 6 p.m. to midnight shift on the classical station. So, and then a lot of voiceover work in television and in radio. So my first passion in the business, when I look back, it's funny because I didn't choose radio really early on, but I was a musician. I loved music. We knew each other through singing choral music, but I started in my first band as a drummer when I was 14. And then I switched over to rhythm guitar, and I sang, and I wrote. And I loved music, but I was pretty self-aware that I wasn't all that talented. I had fun. We were kind of a glorified garage band and played around town, and it was fun. But I loved the industry. I loved the entertainment industry. And so I came here to City College, and I studied graphics, actually. And then I transferred to UCSB. So I don't know how many people are on that program. But I wouldn't have been able to get into UCSB straight out of high school, that's for sure. And I started working for KCSB, which was the radio station out there. I was in the communications department. I was a little bit older. I'd gone back to school a little bit older. And quite honestly, I was pretty bored. And the only thing that really turned me on was the radio station. And I loved it. I loved picking songs, choosing songs. It sort of was a combination of what I had done in music and then being on the air. And I mean, I'm glad I don't have any of those tapes from those days because they would probably be really embarrassing. And somewhere along the line of realizing that I was very bored in school and sort of getting a glance at what I wanted to do, I heard about the radio and television program at San Francisco State. And so I guess in my mind I knew if I'm going to transfer from a state college to UCSB, I was still young enough that sort of mattered at the time. But I didn't care. I wanted to move out of Santa Barbara. I wanted to go to state in San Francisco and study radio and television. And so I was pretty clear what I wanted to do, but not entirely. And I still remember like it was yesterday getting my first news assignment and went out with the camera and came back and started editing, and it clicked. It was like music to me, putting together somebody's voice and writing and creating a story. And honestly, didn't really look back after that. I was really directed in that time. It was more news focused. And I started working as an intern, which I would highly recommend anybody that can get internships right now. But I worked for KGO, which was the radio station, but also KPIX and CNN San Francisco Bureau. So by the time I came back to Santa Barbara, I had not only finished San Francisco State, in radio and television broadcast, but also coming back to a smaller market, as you had mentioned, with sort of this internship from a larger market really helped at that time. And so my one funny story about falling into my career is that, and I mean, just really no idea. And he said, that's okay, I have someone that can fill in for you for a couple weeks. And came back and started working. And so I've been, lucky. I know, I was really lucky. I mean, I look back and it's like, I was so dumb. But it's been a marvelous career. It's, you know, there are times that Gary and I, we get some questions sometimes, do we ever think about moving markets or getting into a larger market? And for me, you know, once I sort of settled here, this is the town I grew up in. I'm raising my son here. Just had no interest in moving on. So it's been a wonderful career, and I think it's going to last, at least I'm hopeful that it will last a lot longer. We can talk a little bit if anybody is interested in sort of what's changed within the radio business, because there's been a lot that technology has changed in the business. But that's sort of my story of where I am and how I got here. And again, just echoing Simon's statements about do something you're passionate about, because if not, you'll feel it every day. It's something that you just must do, and it doesn't. You know, I mean, I'm looking at I think a pretty diverse age group, and I don't think it really matters if you're, you know, 19 or if you're 40, figuring out what you're going to do. It's never too late to do something that you're passionate about. So, that's it.
Thanks.
Got you back on time.